In a small forge in Fukui Prefecture, a blacksmith lifts a blade glowing orange from the coals and brings his hammer down, again and again, in a rhythm passed down for 700 years. This is Echizen Uchihamono, one of Japan's oldest traditions of forged blades. It began with a swordsmith who came here searching for water pure enough to temper a katana. And it very nearly ended in silence a few decades ago. This is the story of how that search created a knife-making dynasty, how it almost disappeared, and how it came back, sharper than ever. Every Echizen blade starts with fire. Craftsmen heat raw steel in a charcoal forge until it glows, then hammer it by hand in a method called hizukuri, the same fire forging process used to make samurai swords centuries ago. One signature technique, called nimai hiroge, stacks two blades together and stretches them under the hammer at the same time so the steel stays hot longer and needs fewer trips back to the fire. Another, called mawashi haganetsuke, shapes the curved edge of a sickle in a single continuous strike. These methods take years to master, and even after the shaping is done, every edge is still finished entirely by hand on a sharpening stone. The result is a whole family of tools: kitchen knives, sickles, hatchets, and garden shears, all carrying the same reputation for a blade that holds its edge. The story begins in 1337, during Japan's Nanboku-cho period. A swordsmith from Kyoto named Chiyozuru Kuniyasu traveled the country searching for water clean and mineral-rich enough to temper a blade properly. He found it in a small town called Fuchu, in what is now Echizen City, and decided to stay. Local legend says he slept one night beside a pond there and dreamed of a dragon rising into the sky, a sign, he believed, that the water was blessed. While he kept forging swords, he also began making sickles for the farmers around him, teaching them his techniques. One story about Kuniyasu has been passed down for generations. Every time he finished a sword, he carved a small stone guardian dog and sank it into his well, hoping his blades would stand as a symbol of the samurai spirit rather than tools for killing. Centuries later, workers actually pulled swords and stone guardian dogs from that same well, turning legend into fact. Under the protection of the Fukui domain during the Edo period, blacksmith guilds formed, and traveling lacquer harvesters who journeyed across Japan gathering sap for Echizen's lacquerware carried Echizen sickles with them to sell along the way. By 1874, this small town was producing more than a quarter of all the sickles made in Japan. That dominance did not last. As Japan mechanized its farms through the 20th century, demand for hand-forged sickles collapsed, and cheap, mass-produced blades from factories elsewhere flooded the market. One by one, the small family forges of Echizen went dark. By the 1970s, dozens of workshops had already closed for good, and the ones still standing faced a hard truth: keep making the same farm tools for a shrinking market or find another way to survive. In 1973, a knife maker named Kamo Katsuyasu, who had spent years mastering the double-layer nimai hiroge technique under his father, gathered 10 other local craftsmen who shared his worry about the future. Together, they formed a study group and eventually built a shared workshop known today as Tofeku Knife Village. They realized that survival meant reinventing the product itself, not just the marketing. Kamo spent years experimenting before developing an all-stainless steel kitchen knife with an integrated blade and handle, a completely new form that still relied on the old fire forging technique underneath. In the 1980s, the group partnered with industrial designer Kazuo Kawasaki to modernize their designs, exhibiting first in Tokyo and later in New York. By then, Echizen Uchihamono had already become, in 1979, the first forged blade craft in Japan to receive the government's traditional craft designation, and by the 2010s, word of the blade's sharpness had reached professional kitchens far beyond Japan. Orders began arriving from chefs across the world. Today, visitors to Teikifu Knife Village can watch craftsmen hammer glowing steel just steps from a small shrine dedicated to Kuniyasu, the swordsmith who started it all 700 years ago in search of good water. The forges that once faced extinction now supply kitchens from Tokyo to Paris. Proof that a craft can nearly vanish and still find its way back, one blade at a time. If you want to see more stories like this, subscribe to follow where we go next.